What do you want from me? I'm just blood and flesh and bones. I'm not an answer.
Welcome to Mildly Entertaining at UNCW, the show where the Office of Military Affairs keeps you mildly entertained and more or less up to date on what's going on at UNCW. Your hosts are Joanna DeMott, the Military Liaison and Program Coordinator, and Melanie Nelson, the Military Student Services Specialist. Oh, Joanna, my vastly uncreative and great personality, how are you today?
I'm great. You guessed it, I'm great. Today is my last day of work before a week-long vacation, so maybe a little extra great, but still great. How are you, Melanie?
I'm just kidding. Joanna's a very creative person, just not when it comes to introducing our show. We like consistency around here. We just do. I'm great. I'm likewise great. I'm glad that you're getting to go on vacation. It's going to be good. I'm excited for you.
It absolutely is. And to also continue a tradition here, I'm going to awkwardly transition. I am so excited to introduce Darion Bayles. He's the coordinator for campus activities involvement in our UNCW's campus life. How are you today, Darion?
I'm doing great. It's been a fun time. You're going on a whole week vacation? I'm jealous.
Whole week.
I'll go pack my bag. I'm on the way.
Come on, let's go.
Awesome.
So you are not in the office right now. It looks like you're in your living room. Our listeners can't see what's going on behind you, but it looks like you're in a very nice living room. What is your work situation now? How has your job changed since mid-March?
The work situation is very interesting. So luckily, a lot of the responsibilities I have, at least in the day-to-day, are media-based. So lots of social media, been working on a lot of website edits. We love those. And really just lots of planning. So it really isn't that much of a transition since it would just all be on the computer. I would say most of what has changed has been not a lot of physical events happening right now. Learning how to utilize virtual programs, especially going beyond Zoom. We're all zoomed out at this point. And I think the biggest change is I haven't worn real pants since March, and it's the best part of all of this, honestly. It's just been very comfortable in my workspace every day.
Absolutely. I would definitely agree that is a wonderful perk of working from home. No real pants. I did have to try some on the other day just to make sure that they were still fitting, but not having to wear them is definitely a perk. I do agree with you, Darion.
Exactly. I was like, I had to try them on. I was like, just in case. I didn't want to wait till the day before. And I'm like, uh-oh.
I'm sure we wouldn't be alone if that was the case, though. I'm sure there are lots of our coworkers are going to either be getting new pants or fitting a little bit more snugly than prior to. And we'll accept that. We're going to be very accepting about people's clothing and attire choices as we return to campus. Have you been back to campus?
I have not been back to campus. Well, I guess you can count yesterday. I go on a lot of walks, and I decided I live right near the campus. So I was like, you know what, let me go on a walk. It was hot. I couldn't breathe. I was on there for like 10 minutes. So it's only been a 10-minute return. Slow transition.
I like a good transition. That's good. Now, speaking of awkward transitions, well, we weren't, but I like to awkwardly transition anyway. I'm going to turn you over to Melanie, and she is going to ask you some really hard-hitting questions here.
My favorite.
They're always hard-hitting, always. Quick public service announcement. It is probably time to start testing out your work pants, because if you need to order some online, COVID shipping times are a little bit slow. So now might be the time. This has been Mildly Entertaining with your public service announcement for the day. Back to the situation at hand. Darion, what are you snacking on these days? Is it different from what you were snacking on when you were on campus? Anything we should know about? Any snack alerts you want to share with us?
Oh, definitely. I'm naturally a snacker. That's what I've always been. More of a grazer. I think that's the actual term. I've just always been someone I snack throughout the day. I guess what's changed is obviously I'm not getting snacks from the pod or the Starbucks on campus. I used to just always go there. But something I'm snacking on a lot. I have a big sweet tooth. I want sugar and desserts all 3 meals of the day. And do you remember those animal cracker cookies? They're pink and white with the sprinkles. I literally cannot stop eating them. I can't. I just bought a new bag. I tried to do the box where they're a little pre-packaged, but I'd eat like 5 of them. So I just it didn't work. But eating a lot of those cookies, I'm actually looking at the box in my recycling right now as I'm talking about this. Other snacks, I love sweet spicy chili Doritos. Those are my favorite. Fun fact, PSA, they're vegan. They're the only vegan Dorito, which, blew my mind because I remember being younger and eating those sweet spicy chili Doritos. And I was like, these are great, but I was dipping them in queso because I don't know what was going on in my life at that point. It's been a really rough day. I was like, they're not supposed to go together, but it tastes good. So always in the sweets and the spicy. That's where my snacks always lie.
Sweets and spicy. So what's your favorite thing to get from Starbucks? Because we're moving to the other end of campus. We're going to be closer to Dunkin' Donuts, which is not a good thing for me. Frankly, we should all just be aware that's not a good thing for me. But we used to be in the building right next door to where the Starbucks is. So I frequented it, let's say. What's your favorite thing to get from Starbucks?
My favorite thing, and this is really interesting because I just talked about how I love sweets. And yeah, you can get some sweet drinks at Starbucks. But my go-to has always been a black venti cold brew. Cold brew hits different, and that's a big definition to talk with people because they'll be like, what's the difference between cold brew and iced coffee? I want you to go have an iced coffee, and then the next day go have a cold brew, and that's all you need to do. Like, they're very different, and cold brew is different compared to Starbucks, compared to Dunkin'. Very, very different. But I would say those have always been my go-to. If we're talking snacks, now I'm hungry. Probably like the blueberry muffins. Those are always been my favorite. The cake pops are good too, but I gotta have something. I gotta get away from the sweets eventually. Gotta balance it out with the bitterness that the cold brew does.
I like how we're talking about balance and snacking. That's always good. We'd like to see that people are putting some intention behind their snacking plans. Can't say that I've done a cake pop. Maybe once upon a time I did a cake pop and my teeth hurt for days afterwards. But I know what you mean about the iced coffee versus the cold brew. I personally am a lightweight and I can't handle cold brew. If I take it, I'm like, it's not good. It's just not a good situation for anybody. So I stay
It's water. It's just water to me now. Just drank so much.
Yeah, it's in your veins now, and we're just, By the way, I want our listeners to know that every time he talks about one of his favorite sugary treats, his eyes get a little bit bigger, and he's sort of like a cartoon character, and I'm a little concerned, and I'm pretty sure we might have to pause our recording so that he can go dig up another thing of those little graham cracker cookies with the pink frosting and eat his animal cookies. Yep, he's just grinning at me right now. It's a thing. Okay, we're gonna move on. Things are getting weird. So what or whom do you not miss right now while teleworking?
What or whom do I not miss? We're gonna skip the whom. I miss everyone. I really miss the students, but that's about it. But what I don't miss, like I said, I don't miss pants. Don't miss them at all. I don't miss my office phone, and everyone in campus life will vouch for this. I don't know how to explain it. When I started this job, the phone was in the student government office, and they need to get me a phone for my office, so I got one, and it's really obnoxious, very loud, very frightening, anxiety inducing. There's no caller ID, so I have no idea who's on the other end. I don't miss that, and this is my way of announcing to my department that I want a new phone. But they agree it's very loud, so I just I don't miss that at all. But everything else I pretty much, I miss really. Yeah, it's a fun time, Just get a new phone, let me wear shorts, and we'll be good.
Sounds great. We did have a discussion about business capris for men. Maybe you can do that. I don't know. We'll have to see.
Uh,
I mean, maybe this is the time to take the forward momentum with all the transitions and all the changes. And if we're ever going to get people to be wearing, pleated khaki shorts to work with polo shirts instead of full-on dress pants in the summertime, now would be the moment.
Maybe not capris. I just died a little inside, but yeah, because that's the thing. Shorts are very, it's very easy to find professional pants. And while shorts are more comfortable, what's a professional shorts? I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, where is the line really? What's a professional short versus a workout short? See, now we're getting into whole sartorial selections that we might just be complicating things. But again, it's your crusade. Go for it. We're behind you 100% at Mildly Entertaining at UNCW. What are your pet peeves on Zoom? I think you've mentioned that we are Zoomed out these days. And I mean, we're doing this on Zoom, and it's a wonder where any of us are paying attention to each other, frankly. So what are your pet peeves on Zoom right now?
What are my pet peeves? So I think and this isn't me calling out anyone at all, but when everyone felt this way whenever you had in-person meetings. You know how some in-person meetings, they could have been an email, and then there's the emails that could have been a meeting. I think we experienced that with Zoom. I think, we have meetings where I'm like, we didn't need this. This could have been an email, but then some that have been emails, it's like, we really should have discussed this and had this connection. So I could hear your tone of voice and like figure out like what the context behind it is. So I think we're experiencing that a lot. It's a pet peeve of mine. Cause I think we don't want to be on Zoom any more than we need to every day. I would say another pet peeve. I really don't like it when my camera is on, but someone doesn't have the camera on. I really hate that. I'm like, if we're having an actual meeting, unless you're just listening, like if we were to have some people on here right now and they had their camera off, their Zoom off, their voice off, that's fine. They're just listening. But if we're all in the meeting together, if I got to be seen, you all got to be seen. Let's get ready. Those are probably my pet peeves. And when they look like this, the listeners can't hear it, but when their phone is like underneath their face, and I can see up their nose. Ugh, awful.
I am hopeful, having been on several different hiring committees where we do some Zoom interviews, I am hopeful that this period is allowing people to understand how best to set up their Zoom environment so that we don't have to look up your nose or down your shirt or into your lap or lots of other inappropriate places to be looking during a job interview when you're the one doing the interview. So I'm hopeful that people will sort of like get a grip on it and be like, I have to set up my desk in a weird way in order for this to be optimized, but I will do that every time I have to be on Zoom, just so that other people are comfortable. Mm-hmm. That's an impressive list of pet peeves. So thank you for sharing all of those. We'll add those to our master list, which hopefully we'll get a chance to sort of go back and review someday when we're all back out of teleworking. But in the meantime, if you had to telework for the rest of your career, what would be the most important things for you to keep in mind?
If I needed to telework for the rest of my career, I would definitely need to set up a more strict schedule. I've been really flexible, and I think it's really important for us all to be a little flexible because, like, the world is just like falling apart. So we need some flexibility in our lives. So like, right now, like something I've been making sure to do is like, I always take a shower. I always brush my teeth. I always try to do like the basic needs because I've definitely been on calls with students or even a couple people. And I'm like, when was the last, have you showered lately? Have you brushed your teeth? Are you doing okay? And I think it's days just kind of blend in together. So I'd want to set up a more strict routine. And then something else that I would need is still have the opportunity to have some in-person interaction. I think it's going to be really interesting when we go into the fall because a lot of us are still going to be kind of balancing. There'll be in-person in the office, but we'll also be teleworking. And I really want to be more intentional about when I'm teleworking, I'm focusing on maybe the social media, maybe the media platforms, but really utilizing my in-person time to meet with people and connect with them and not maybe focusing all the time on my website. So like I can do that at home. So I would say being really intentional about what I am doing in the office versus at home from moving forward, and really setting strict guidelines about what to do.
I think that's a really, really valuable insight at this point, because yes, even if we had to telework for the rest of our careers, I'm sure that a lot of us would work out ways to do some type of in-person interaction. This is like my zombie apocalypse, where we've decided that our culture has still values work even in the midst of a zombie apocalypse. That would never happen, right? But so this idea that we would still find ways to meet somehow and do things outside of work that would allow us to get that human interaction. But I think that's an important point. If the things that you can do online can be done online when you don't have the opportunity to interact with other people, and then the things that we prefer to do through human interactions in our physical presence, we should focus on that. That's going to be a challenge for a lot of people, I think.
Mm-hmm. Especially those people that like maybe their jobs are almost, they need that interaction. You know, there's a balance of like, you know, it depends all on the job.
It really does. It really does. It's going to be different for everybody. All right. Well, thank you for those words of wisdom. And now I'm going to hand you back over to Joanna.
I love that. And I think I will start looking at that myself, what tasks I can do here and at home, and what can be done in the office, and be a little bit more efficient that way. I want to know a little bit maybe about a passion of yours. Do you have something that you're personally or professionally passionate about that you spend a lot of time and effort doing?
I would say two of my passions, I would say, and this is something that leans into my actual job. I love graphic design. I actually thought most of my life I wanted to be an art teacher, until like a high school art teacher, until I was like 18, 19 years old. I actually have a picture somewhere of like third grade career day. I'm dressed up as an art teacher. I have like a white shirt and it's covered in paint and it says Mr. Bayles on it. And I'm holding like this bucket of crayons. Then I got to college and realized I didn't want to be an art teacher, but I loved art. And with the work I do in campus activities, I end up getting a lot of experience with graphic design and publicity. So even in my own time, I do a lot of that on my own social media accounts. I'll be at the park, I'll be at the beach, I'll take a picture, but I do something to that picture. I change it up. I make it very mythical or pretty or colorful, just something different. Cause I just like, you know, I've always thinking about that stuff. I'm always kind of thinking outside of the box. Another thing really passionate about is fitness. Really staying active and understanding that looks different for everyone. What I do to stay healthy and stay happy is different than what maybe you do. Like my version of staying happy is I just like, you know, if I get my 5 miles, like, you know, 10,000 steps a day, I'm very happy. I'm very content. And I'm going to eat all the animal cracker cookies I want. Like, you know, I eat my vegetables. I really do. I'm very healthy. But I always want to have my sweets, and I don't feel like anyone should have to kind of look down upon themselves just because they want some ice cream today. Or if they want ice cream every day, doesn't matter. It's finding your balance of what makes you happy. So really like health and art. Those are like my big 2 things, which has always been interesting because those are 2 different realms. You have the art, you have the science, and I love both. So
That's really amazing. And I like that point of view. Whatever it takes for you to stay healthy and happy is the right way, because we do hear a lot of people who preach about, you know, you have to do it this way or that way or whatever. So the fact that you're able to find what makes sense for you and what makes you happy without having that added anxiety of trying to meet up or measure up to something else that's not you. That's amazing. I love it. What is your favorite part of your job? If, you know, normally not in this weird environment, what is your favorite part?
ooh, my favorite part of my job. I really do love I love the social media aspect of it, because I think that's something that a lot of people want to learn how to do, how to navigate. It's such a big piece in how we connect with current students. So I manage the hockey news Instagram, so UNC Win. And I'm just really like, you know, there's endless creativity. It's like, how do I take something that was in person and replicate it in the media. Something that we're doing right now over the summer is, because summer orientations aren't happening, a presentation that John Capel and Aaron Williamson did is Get Engaged with UNCW, talks about involvement, but they're not getting that presentation right now. So I'm looking at the presentation they would have given to all those students and kind of replicating it in a new way via our Instagram, via our social media, about how to get involved, student organizations, Greek life, and the importance of doing that, and branding it as beginning their involvement journey. So I think that's really my favorite part, other than working with students and just kind of trying to take their ideas and seeing if they can happen. Because I'm really big into having, I have 100 ideas every day. So how can I make it real? How can I make it happen? It might not happen now, but could it happen down the road or stuff like that? Those are really my favorite parts, is the creativity and innovation.
That's wonderful. What's your favorite event on campus?
Ooh, this isn't my own event. I love Dub Awards. So the Dub Awards is the student organization award show that is held within our office. It's a combined effort between the Office of Student Leadership Engagement and CAKE. And we really recognize the achievements within programming and leadership of the student organizations. And I think in the long run, like that's something like, I kind of would like to do more of, is more of like award shows in the events. Like right now I do like the Involvement Carnival, I organize Beach Blast, I love like, bingo and stuff like that. I love doing that. But I think like, when I'm older, I might not want to do bingo at 8 o'clock at night anymore. I think I kind of like want to lean towards like award shows and things that are more maybe educational and like really deep and impactful in terms of kind of like representing students. So I think that's something I want to lean into.
What's coming up? Do you have anything to plug?
Do I have anything to plug? Keep an eye out for programming resources that will help departments and student organizations prepare for the fall. I know we're waiting for guidelines about what all that looks like, but I've been working with a group about how can we develop resources for things like virtual engagement, social media, publicity, and how to continue connecting with students, and not just as staff, but how can us as team members and student organizations continue to connect with each other when nothing's going to be the same, but just because it isn't the same doesn't mean we can't find a way to continue doing it.
I'm excited to see the creative ways you increase engagement, and we're happy to use some of those for sure. We love increased participation.
We love it.
Yeah, absolutely. And this collaboration, it's amazing. I want to thank you so much for coming on today with us, Darion. It's been a true pleasure.
This was so much fun. I love this. It was so interesting getting to talk to people that I don't talk to every single day. Just like, new faces, new personalities, new sarcasm. Melanie, I'm feeling it. I love it.
Excellent. Glad to hear it. We are so grateful that you were able to join us today. And this has been an episode of Mildly Entertaining at UNCW, and we will see you on the internet.
Thank you for listening to Mildly Entertaining. Our intro music comes from the band Blue Turnip and their song, What Do You Want From Me? You can find their EP, Songs from the Root Cellar, on Bandcamp, iTunes, Amazon, and Spotify. For more information, you can go to blueturnipmusic.com.